Before PAC, exploiting iOS was relatively straightforward once you found a memory corruption vulnerability. For many years, attackers tend to exploit buffer overflow aiming to access the return address of the current function. If a developer forgot to check the size of an input, it will let a door open for malicious payload. With that primitive, an hacker could change the execution flow of the code. Today, I will explain how return-oriented programming was a powerful weapon and how ARM proposes a solution against it. Hey, I'm Tony, and you are on the River Society channel. Here, we explore the world of Apple platform security and reverse engineering. If you are into that, please hit the subscribe button. Let's draw a normal stack layout. Now, if an attacker sends 100 bytes instead of 64, the extra bytes overflow and overwrite the return address. When the function returns, instead of returning to the legitimate caller, the CPE jumps to the target address. By chaining multiple gadgets, attackers execute arbitrary logic using only legitimate code snippets. To be more concrete, let's take a code example. We can see in the listing above that we have a buffer with the size 64, and then user data will be copied into buffer regardless of its size. Let's step into the attacker's shoes for a moment. Let's take a buffer of 100. We'll assume that the link register is at the offset 72. Then the attacker basically just memset the buffer with garbage data, and at the offset 72 it will put the gadget address. This is what PAC breaks. PAC stands for Pointer Authentication Code, adding new CPU instruction to sign and verify pointers. At its core, PAC is a cryptographic formula. Let's break down each component. The pointer is the address we want to protect, for example, the return address at x30. A key is a 128-bit secret stored in hardware registers. There are 5 different keys: AA and AB for signing instruction pointers, DA and DB for signing data pointers, and GA for signing generic data. The context is a unique value that makes each signature different. Commonly used contexts include the stack pointer, 0, or a custom value for specific use cases. With that context, an attacker could copy a valid PAC from one location to the other. So let's take a deeper look at keys. And we will focus on instruction keys like IA and IB. The entire iOS and macOS system shares the same A key across all platform binaries like Springboard. Third-party processes with the same team ID also share an A key. In contrast, B keys are unique to each process and generated randomly at creation time. A signature created with process 1's B key cannot be verified by process 2, which has its own randomly generated B key. The only exception is when a process uses fork, in which case the child inherits the parent's B key. A keys manage trust at the group level to optimize library sharing. B keys manage trust at the local execution level. PAC keys are 128-bit secrets, but ARM64 registers are only 64-bit. So each key is split across 2 registers, low and high, that are only accessible at EL1 and above. ARM64 uses 64-bit addresses, but not all 64-bit are used, which gives PAC a place to live. This assumes 48-bit addressing. The actual split depends on TCR-EL1 kernel configuration. There is different kind of PAC instruction. Let's try to take an example with this pointer. First, we will try to strip the signature from the pointer. So if we put the pointer in register 16 and then we apply the XPACI, then we remove the signature from the pointer. Note here that the last letter of the instruction is I, but it would have been D if it was for data pointers. And you will see that we could apply the same logic every time. Now we will try to sign that pointer with the PACIA instruction, which means that we want to sign the pointer, which is an instruction, with the A key. Then we will put the pointer into register 16 and the context in the register 17. Then we will call the instruction PACIA, and boom, our pointer is now signed. Now we would like to authenticate our pointer with the AUTIA instruction, which means that we want to authenticate instruction pointer with the A key. Like in our previous example, we will move pointers to the corresponding registers, and then we will call the instruction to authenticate our pointer. Boom, our pointer is now authenticated. So now we have a good understanding of what PAC is. But in the next section of this video, we will see how we could prevent rope attack. When a function enters, the compilers will add the PAC instruction to sign the link register with the stack pointer as a context. If an attacker overwrites the return address with a gadget, that address was either never signed at all or signed in a different context. Either way, the signature won't match the current context. Then the auth instruction will detect this, causing the program to crash instead of jumping to the attacker's gadget. If you want to play with it, you can do that in pure C code, as the example that you see here. And I created myself a project that you can use, and I will put the link in the description below. If you want to have more details, you can read the post that I wrote on that topic. This is not a deep dive, but it will give you enough knowledge to understand these instructions the next time that you will open your disassembler. I hope that you appreciated that video, and for the next one, we will craft an exploit on a jailbroken iPhone, so yeah, you won't miss that, and see you there.